people will make a bunch of their own stuff, whether it's cases or little stands. Like
Yeah.
we're excited to see what people do with that.
This is the Steam controller by Valve. It's coming out in May for PC, Steam Deck, and Steam's new gaming PC, the Steam Machine, which isn't out yet. It'll cost £85 or $99. So, what are you getting for that price? Here's everything you need to know from Valve themselves.
It's kind of a journey from the first Steam controller to the Steam Deck, then to the Steam controller, 2026. Like with the first controller, the goal was to show that, hey, in PC, a lot of games are made for mouse and keyboard. And there is a controller that could exist that could play those games well if it was designed with that in mind. And that's why there's those two big trackpads right in the middle. It has gyro built into it for a different way to control the mouse, back buttons. What we learned from that was, yes, it actually does play mouse and PC games, sorry, mouse and keyboard games well. But because it was lacking all of the typical gamepad inputs that people would expect, it didn't play games that were made for controller as well. Like there's only one thumbstick, there's no D-pad, and those were missed. So going from the Steam controller to the Steam Deck, we wanted to take everything that we learned in the first Steam controller, which is both those two lessons I just mentioned, and turn it into the Steam Deck and figure out how do we get all those in a comfortable ergonomic form factor, right? How do we get all of those inputs in a spot that your thumb can reach for most people because people have all different hand sizes. What we've learned in the Steam Deck is like, hey, with all of that there, it works. It works great. People really like the Steam Deck. They think the ergonomics are good. We think the ergonomics are good. And so really at that point, it was natural to take, another stab at the Steam controller with everything we learned from the Steam Deck and do it again. So you'll notice the big differences are there's two thumbsticks, there's a D-pad, trackpads are lower and not top and center. And that's just based on all that usability work. Like where is the best location for everything?
Yeah, and the landscape of PC gaming has also changed over the last 10 years since the original Steam controller. Back then, there weren't as many PC game developers with thinking about controller support. But these days, a lot of games are just shipping day one with controller support, and we see year over year, like continual growth of daily sessions of people playing games on Steam with a controller, whether it be with Xbox controller, PlayStation controller, or even Steam Deck. So, kind of the timing is good. The landscape makes sense that we want to have with Steam Deck and with the new Steam controller input surface that can handle all of your inputs equally well, whether the game is made for a gamepad or not.
Yeah.
At the moment, it only works with things that run Steam. It doesn't work with consoles, for example. Can you see that changing in the future?
At this time, because of the way that Steam controller is made with all of the advanced inputs, Steam really is required to kind of drive and run all of those inputs and translate to Steam, translate it to the game for all of that. For the original Steam controller, there were a lot of community solutions for that kind of stuff. We'd imagine that something like that would continue for the new Steam controller as well. But for us right now, we're focused on making this best controller for Steam.
Where did the idea for the magnetic controller come from? Because that's a really interesting part of it.
When we were doing early play testing internally, we didn't have any kind of proprietary low latency connectivity set up. It was just Bluetooth because that was easy to implement and just turn on. It's, pre-built stuff. With just relying on Bluetooth, it's like people's homes environments are so variable. We ended up having to send a bunch of colleagues home with special dedicated antennas because, the way that their station was set up, it was like using Bluetooth and wireless in the same antenna, and they had all these interference problems, and they were having bad wireless experiences. So we knew we needed to provide a custom solution there to make sure everybody had a low latency experience that we can make sure is good for everybody. The first Steam controller did the same thing. It had a wireless receiver, but it was like a little nub this big. It went on a little dock on your desk, and like we know not a lot of people use that. They just go to Bluetooth mode because it's so much easier. And so they're not getting all the benefits of that low latency connection. And so we really thought hard about like, how do we make this valuable for people so that they actually want to use it and, give it extra functionality just to encourage people to get that experience. A little side note, there's also an issue where if you just plug these dongles into the back of the computer, they have interference from other things near them.
There's a big chunk of metal between you and
Yeah.
your
Yeah. And also just other USB devices add interference. So we wanted to get it away from the PC. And it's like, okay, do we have a little cable that it dangles out, right? All these solutions. It was a lot of time spent thinking like, how do we pull all this together into something that provides value to the customer, makes them want to use it, and then they can get that experience that we know is much more stable than something like Bluetooth. So that's how it came about.
I'm a huge fan of the puck.
Yeah.
As a designer, I'm a UX guy, so like there's like one little thing that, solves so many problems in a small
Yeah.
package. Like it solves the wireless interference problem. It solves like the quick charging thing. Like it's so much nicer to put it on the puck than to like find the USB cord and shove it into the slot.
What's your favorite part of the controller?
For me, it's the puck. I like the puck.
I like to hear that because I spent so much time playing around with magnets with that puck. Oh my God. The puck has a special place in my heart for sure. One of the other features I spent a good amount of time on was the grip sense. That's a new feature for this controller relative to the Steam Deck. And it is something that, we're trying to provide this growing community of gyro gamers with an alternative way to enable and disable gyro. It's just kind of I love the story behind it. I love that we put it in. We're trying to help grow another part of the gaming community. It to me it's just nice.
Yeah.
I think.
How easy is it going to be to repair? Can you swap parts in and out?
So we plan on selling replacement parts. Well, we're not selling replacement parts. We're working with iFixit to make sure they're available. So if somebody needs to replace something, they can go to iFixit and get it there. We purposefully designed this controller to be easy to open and to get into in case you need to do something like that. It's your device. We believe in that. There's no snaps in it, so when you unscrew the back screws, you can just take the back case off. You don't have to figure out where to put your little spudger to get it out. And then, we put some considerations into the battery so that it's easy to take in and out as well. You don't have to deal with any wires or adhesives. It just kind of snaps into place. We did think through this whole design process to support the right to repair your devices.
It's also serving the modding and customization community. We know that there's people who are already thinking about like, oh, I'm gonna put neon buttons in here or swap
Yeah.
my thumbsticks out
Yep.
or like 3D print different shell. Like there's gonna be a whole bunch of stuff we can't wait to see what people do with it. And actually to that end, we are going to be soon, probably very soon, we're going to be releasing the
Yeah.
CAD files, external topology, just like we did for Steam Deck,
Yeah.
so that people will make a bunch of their own stuff, whether it's cases or little stands. Like the puck is designed in such a way that it'd be pretty fun and simple to like make a little stand that it sits in, and then
Yeah.
your controller could sit on there if that's what you prefer. So
Yeah.
we're excited to see what people do with that.
What about the price? How do you see the controller existing alongside others in the market at the moment?
Our perception of that is it really depends on what you value in a controller. And not to say that anybody's preferences are wrong or right. In the case of this controller, the price comes from the advanced inputs that we put in, and our goal was to provide as many different ways to play your games as possible in a competitive point for that feature set. And if something like trackpads isn't something that interests you, you might not see the value in the price. Um, and there's plenty of great controllers out there that are straight up gamepads without advanced inputs. And that maybe that's the one for you. But in this case, like we think we provide a lot of value for the price point that this controller lands at.
Yeah, we're really happy with it, with not only advanced inputs, but also the puck and the wireless charging solution. We think adds a lot of value to the just overall experience.
And I've got to ask, do we have any more news about the Steam Machine?
We're still very excited about Steam Machine. We're still working hard on it. We don't really have, unfortunately, we don't have any new news to say, other than we're still, struggling with the same thing that the entire industry is struggling with RAM and memory storages and price hikes. So it is a thing that we're still working on, and we hope to share more news on that soon.